It's Maz, you're back on the channel.
Yay!
It's been a while. You doing okay?
Yeah, good. Thank you very much.
I've wheeled another mess into you. You can see I've had an issue with cleaning, which is my own fault. You said it might not all be me, but the majority is.
No, so what I've seen is there's definitely some wash marring. There's been some wiping with old towels. There's been some wiping bird poo off the car, which we spoke about. But there's also been quite a lot of work done on the car. So we know one side of the car's had more heavy machine correction on one side than the other side. Obviously, you've had your front repainted by Charade. We know the rear bumper at some point has been touched. So, you know, it's quite typical with 996s. You know, they've been around for a long time now. So people want to keep their cars nice. So they get people constantly working on them. And there's a history to be told from the paint.
So I've bought my towels and I call this a mitt. Is that correct?
Pad,
wash
mitts
pad.
You put your hand in.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So look, I've made a big mistake, and Maz, you've said from the start, well, I'll sweep up your mess in today's video, but stop you at home making the same mistake. We're going to tell you a cheat code, which is blatantly obvious now, but wasn't for me at the time.
So a lot of people make the mistake whereby they have their wash meter, their microfibers, and they think, now I've got a microfiber, everything's fine. But what microfiber does is it grabs dirt and holds onto it. And the way it releases dirt is when you get them wet. But it won't completely let go of all the dirt. So whenever you use a wash pad or your towel, just the once, you have to wash them.
Yeah.
You can't air dry them, put them away for a rainy day. I mean, it should be square. Your one is now rectangle. So I don't know how that's happened.
Well, look, you've said you've had that for a couple of years.
These that we use here at HQ, they're probably about 3 or 4 years old now.
Okay.
And I say this to everyone, and they look like this one, certainly the one I have, that's a brand new. Your one, yeah, it's the fibres are stiff, and that's because they're contaminated with dirt.
When I spoke to you about this on the phone, you said, have you washed them? When was the last time you washed them? That's what you said. And that's when I was found out, because I haven't. Some people would know that you do have to wash like the towel and the pad as well, but you said you got to wash it after every single time you wash the car or clean the car.
Yes, because we use split fibres on our microfiber pad, which is slightly different to the pads out there in the market, although some of them now are mimicking. But the great thing about the fibres on this is that they pick up, but when you're washing, they do release. But that doesn't mean that the fibres don't get contaminated over time.
Yeah.
So when you wash a car, obviously you're washing the dirt off, then the pad gets contaminated.
Yeah.
Therefore, you should wash them.
Yeah.
Like you would do if, let's say, you went to the gym and you got your gym clothes. You come home, you put them in the wash. It's the same thing with this. Well, and the towels that you use for drying, for applying quick detailer.
Yeah.
So, cut the long story short, you should have a collection of towels that you just cycle through. And that is actually, of anything we've ever spoken about, this is actually the most important part.
Yeah.
So once you put in the effort to make the car look shiny or clean, you can quickly undo the work by using towels that are contaminated. Because like with, when you machine polish a car, there's different compounds. You've got foam that you can use to machine polish a car. You've got wool that you can use, and you also got microfiber. And the reason why microfiber is so good is because it cuts. So if you imagine these microfibers, once they get contaminated, yes, they're soft when they're clean, right? And they're soft in the paint and they won't damage it. But when they get contaminated and then you're rubbing it in, that's when the damage happens.
Yeah, I mean, look, just even pulling that out there, I don't know what that is, but I think that's plastic. But again, so this may be really obvious to you at home. It wasn't so to me. So there might be people out there on my level, but like my diligence post wash is, towel and that, wring it out, flap it out, leave it to hang and whatever. But then, you know, when we've gone through this away from the mic, and again, I'll show this up close, you know, you can see, I mean, look at that towel as well, a bit bristly and stiff, you know, and it's just...
And yeah, and when you don't wash them and they start getting stiff, and this will happen to any microfiber towel, that's when you're going to start getting loads and loads of swirls.
Yeah, so actually, despite having all the technique when cleaning the car, I have ultimately undone all that work.
Yeah.
So that is a very big lesson which we're giving to you at the top of the video, which will hopefully save your paintwork. It's a bit too late for me, which is why we've got a living legend here who's going to, like I said, sweep up my mess. So thank you for that, Maz.
My pleasure.
Let's see what else we'll learn as the video goes on.
Cool.
You've seen the swirl marks under Maz's light, but they were so bad you could see them outside with the naked eye and from quite a distance. All I can say is, I promise you, I'm not dropping these clangers on purpose. I'm just a little down on luck at present. Anyway, as this was the first time Maz was seeing my GT3, paint readings were taken, and we'll explain why at the end of the video. Then, Maz gave my GT3 a luxurious and comprehensive pre-wash, including iron fallout remover, tar and glue remover, water spot remover and a strong high alkaline decon shampoo. All products were Garage Therapy's own, obviously, and are available right now via the Nineworks website. Maz also assessed surface smoothness, deciding it didn't need a clay bar before we brought the car indoors for polishing. Then it was onto that machine polish using Garage Therapy Primer Polish, and at this point I'll let Maz explain. He's the expert.
I'm going to be using quite a light compound. So primer polish, what this does is it does some filling, does some cutting, and leaves some material behind so that ceramic coatings can bond on top of it. So we'll see what this does.
We've previously covered the different ways to polish your car on this channel, and for your convenience I've popped the link on your screen right now to take a look.
No swirls. And as we slowly go over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Lots of swirls. No swirls.
Maz has always said on this channel it's about process over product, and that very fact seems to have bitten me in the bum here, although I'm lucky Maz is happy to put a shift in to rectify my errors when washing the car.
Let's see if we can notice a difference. Very good. Yeah. So, can you see that? Swirls.
Whoa, yeah, look at that bit there.
Yeah.
Whoa, yeah.
Swirls.
Gnarly.
No swirls.
Buoyed by the progress, Maz cracked on with the rest of the GT3, including the windscreen, which he said he could make look better too. This was a pretty laborious day for Maz. I was just following him around with a camera, but we did have a giggle, and the results show what can be done when you know what you're doing. After polishing out the gnarly swirls, Maz went over the rubbers with GT panel wipe before applying Cerberus V2 ceramic coating, and we'll talk about this later. Lastly, GT tyre serum was applied to soak into the tyres to complete the makeover. My GT3, once again, was looking $1 million. So this is the wash bag.
This is the wash bag.
Note to Lee, this is the important bit. Stick them in the wash. You put in a shift, Maz.
Yeah, it's been quite it's been quite a shift. What we've done effectively is compress about 2 days worth of work into 7 hours, 7-8 hours ish. So this is a paint enhancement to fix the issues that were on the paint, which was swirls.
Yeah.
Some bird staining, bug staining and stuff like that, which we've done.
Mm-hmm.
And then we protected it with a ceramic coating. Because we've obviously had to condense the work into 1 day, is probably not as thorough as what, if I was personally do it, would have been. I remember I said to you, like, some bits on the wheels I could have done a bit better job on. I could have maybe gone after a few more defects on the paint. on certain areas. But overall, it's a fantastic result. And certainly when we done the before and afters, there was a massive difference, which tells us two things. One, I don't think the damage was that deep. So most definitely some wash technique errors and bad wash media. Not so much the media's at fault, but obviously it wasn't washed regularly, so it's picked up contamination and therefore scratched the paint. But overall, as I said to you, the condition of the car's fantastic, and you don't see many cars that are 21, 22 years old in that good of a condition that this one's in.
That ceramic coat has enhanced that in such a way and given it a gloss and almost given like the blue hue, like a royal hue to the midnight darkness, I would say. But why scientifically, if we may dive down there, does that ceramic coat like lift the paint in that way and make it so glossy?
The coatings are polysiloxane coating, so it's an organic polysiloxane coating. And what that does is that leaves a thick, I say relatively thick, so with our coating it'll be something like 500 to 600 nm. So for people that don't know, a car might have 120 UMs of paint on the car. So let's say 30-40 of that will be the primer, another 30-40 will be the colour, and then another 30-40 will be the lacquer, giving you a total of 120. You're adding, let's say, up to 1 of coating on the surface, and that fills in all of the micro imperfections in the paint and smooths the paint out. And with the type of materials that go into it, so you've got silicon dioxide, you've got the synthetic siloxanes and siloxanes and polymers that go into the coatings. They give you some gloss enhancing colour depth properties in those base materials, and as that goes onto the surface, you get that gloss, that richness coming out, because you're effectively filling in the micro imperfections in the paint. That, yes, polishing gives you 90% of that, but there's only so much it will give you when you're cutting paint. You're always going to have like imperfections in the paint.
On that molecular level, where it's filling in those bumps, rises, it's giving a flatter surface for the light to reflect off more fully, rather than hitting lots of different bits.
Exactly that, and that gives you, and because you're adding another layer on top as well, that's giving you more colour saturation and depth, which is what good coatings, like our coating is, a good coating will do. And that really developed, over like a period of like 20 minutes after application. It just kept blossoming. So what that is that's as the silicon dioxide is like forming a matrix, so it starts cross-linking with the paint and forming a matrix, a hard matrix, which is why they call them like glass coatings, crystal coatings, because the actual structure molecularly that it forms is very much like a glass, like SiO2, and as that hardens, that's when the gloss and everything starts coming out, because it's liquid. Then it hardens and it bonds to the paint and seeps into all of those pores and crevices and valleys, and that's where you get the uniformity and the gloss really starts coming out. Excellent. It's great to deep dive into some science. We'll come back out for air. There's kind of two things I want to finish on really. First thing is, I want to say, in using all of your towels and whatnot that I have over the years, I really like the fact you don't have labels on them, because you will not believe the amount of other brands that do. And then when people are doing that over their car and you've got this bristle label effectively damaging the paint thereafter. For those that don't know then, because we've learnt today that you need to wash all of that after every wash, but what wash? Every use. Yes. But, so what wash should it go on? So you shouldn't use too high of a temperature in the washing machine. Typically, I would say keep it at 30 or 40 degrees. Use non-bio liquid in there, because when you have softeners in there, it affects the polyester and polyamide mix in there, and it clogs up the microfiber. So that's no good. For the towels. You can wash them on a higher heat, but you will degrade the towels quicker, because
It's a synthetic material at the end of the day, and there's a potential for it to melt the fibres. Unlikely, but you shouldn't wash them on high heat. 30-40 degrees is ample.
That's the very big message today, I think, that we did cover at the start of the video, but it's been great to show just what can be done with the right process as well as products. In a day's work, in your case, it's a couple of days really if you want to give it a good crack. The reason you did the paint depth gauge is because you wanted to get an understanding of how much you could lean on the car, lean into it, because like you said, down this side where it's a lot thinner, you were like, well, I don't want to take too much off. Whereas you had more meat on the bone on the other side. Yeah,
much more meat on the bone on the other side. So it's about paint preservation. So I want to remove as little paint as possible, especially on a car of this age. What we don't want to do is if you came in and you said, I want a paint correction, so the car's with me for 2-3 days, then I would be using heavier compounds potentially to correct some of the defects. However, ideally, you want to assess the car, every car on its merits, so to speak, and think, right, how least aggressive method or combination of cutting compounds can I use to get the best results? And today, I deemed it that we didn't need to go heavy on the car because the car has seen a lot of machine polishing in its life. I can tell straight away, certainly from the paint readings, but just looking at certain texture in the paints and stuff like that, and going light but still, and the primer polish will do a little bit of filling in there as well, right, with some of the resins that go into the primer polish, plus adding the ceramic coating on top was going to give you the result you're after, i.e. removing the swirls that you can see in the sunlight, hiding some of the defects, removing as little paint as possible, and then protecting it. And just to end and take a deep breath, we've still got some paint to work with. I haven't removed 5, 6, 7 UMs of paint, and then whoever comes and works on it in a year or 2 or 3 or 4 years time has got no paint to work with, then you're talking about a repaint.
Yeah, nice disclaimer. I've left something there for you. Your diligence and hard work today, Maz, has been mint. Like you've made this look just absolutely beautiful from the dog's dinner that I turned it into pretty quickly. I have learnt a lot. I will take that forward. I will go and wash every time after use, mitts, towels, the lot. And thanks for making it look so splendid.
My pleasure.